From the PSIA-AASI Satellite Studios in Hood River, Oregon, I'm George Thomas. You're listening to First Chair, and today we're chatting with Erik Sheckleton about Rider Rally. And Erik, I'm looking out the window, and the sun's going down, but there's no clouds in the sky for like the first time in 2 weeks. Mount Hood's gotten buried in about 8 feet of snow. We had 5 feet over Christmas week, another 3 over the past week, and it's like snowboard heaven.
It's the same here at Big Sky, so I'm glad we're both getting it.
Boy, we sure had a lot of water in this storm cycle. It was like something else.
Yeah, beautiful. Good to see.
So with Rider Rally, I really wanted to chat with you about how that got formed. What kicked Rider Rally off in the early days?
So that team, the team that I was on, the AASI team, the first team under the AASI banner, was a team that um, our term was 1996 to 2000, and we were writing the first manual, creating the first video, and we had these concepts, but we didn't have a great delivery method. We didn't have an event or a gathering. We didn't have any real formal way for snowboard instructors to interact. It was an elective at National Academy, the PSIA National Academy, but it really wasn't a snowboard event. So that team, we would sat down and talked about how can we bring people together? What did we like about the academy? What didn't we like? And thankfully, I'm in a division that's pretty um, forward thinking. They're always willing to experiment. And so in 1999, we tried it was a divisional event at that time called the Rider Rally up in Whitefish, what is now Whitefish Mountain Resort, was Big Mountain. Brought in Randy Price, and Randy and I led that. And it was a big success. And really the cornerstones were flexibility, not really coming out with a list of topics that you were going to explore, but allowing the group to lead, which is really much something that we practice every day on the hill, and always being thinking about new ideas, things that we could just bring to the event. So in 2000, we took advantage of some grant money that was being offered by PSIA-AASI at the time. And we were able to hold the very first national rider rally in Big Sky, and brought in most of that team. I can't remember how many participants, but it was really large. Had the first ride down, first chair, all of us in one time, and spent a week exploring, breaking up into groups, really doing whatever the group felt they wanted to cover, making sure people got as much feedback as they needed, but then also just really trying to find different ways to build that camaraderie, and that sense, I think, is what really makes the rider rally the rider rally.
Okay, so I have to ask you, we were talking before we started recording, and I'm actually teaching a class tonight for the first time using material that I helped write. And I'm nervous as all get out. I mean, that's what you just said you guys did at the first Rider Rally. You were working on the new manual. You were coming up with what was that like for you to actually be in that position where, wow, we've spent all this time building this material, coming up with this, and now we're actually putting it out there to the public in person.
Yeah,
And what was that like for you all? That had to be really exciting.
it was a really exciting time, spending countless hours debating what concepts we should put in a manual in the first place. Thankfully, we just had a great group. We had Randy Price, Lane Clegg, we had Travis Thielen, we had John Tickner. Our coach was Brian Spears from the East Coast, and really passionate group, but a group that had a lot of fun bantering back and forth. And so we were able to settle on the concepts that made it into a manual, wrote the manual, created that first video, and I was really glad to see that those concepts have lasted. They've stood the test of time. those first concepts we put into a manual. And I think that is partly because we didn't try to define things down to every detail. We understood that this is a sport that's about creativity and expression, and so we left a lot of it fairly open. And I think that's really what makes snowboarding stand out.
And it was received, sounds very well received. You had a lot of people show up. What happened after that? Did you continue that annually for a while, or how did that work?
We did. NRM, my region, was willing to continue to handle all the administration of the event. So I would talk to other team members and ask where should we move it. That was another thing that we wanted to do, was move it around the nation so that people could explore different areas. It could be in their own region, so it'd be a little less travel time. So from Big Sky, I think we went to Jackson Hole. Mikey Franco helped us set that one up. Um, uh, it was through NRM, but we held it at Jackson Hole. I think we did Mammoth, Snowbird, Breckenridge. Um, we did in Steamboat, um, Copper, back to Jackson Hole at least one other time. So it did move around quite a bit, but it was always grassroots. It was really run by just a couple of us on the team through NRM. It was done on a shoestring budget. Most of the time we weren't really we were not paid. We just volunteered. We always had a bit of a raffle at the end, and we'd take the money from the raffle, and that might we might split that up and help cover travel costs or something like that. But it was really done on a shoestring, and we had a great following, a lot of people that came every year. But we always knew that we had to this had to become a more organized event. It couldn't rely on just one person or a couple people, or eventually it would die off. And so at one point, it was turned over to the National Association to run, um, and it started to become an event along with National Academy. So at the same place as National Academy at the same time. But thankfully, the AASI team has always embraced it and taken it as their own event and made it something unique and different, even though it was held in conjunction with the PSIA National Academy.
I was speaking about Rider Rally with Erik Rolls a week or so ago, and I was telling him the first one I was really exposed to was happening in the parking lot at A Basin.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, this is really cool. So did it grow from there? Did it kind of uh, devolve into that? Is that where it needed to go? Kind of what were those years like?
I don't I think that's always been part of it, uh that it's a flexible it's an event that's always in a fluid state. So if we see an opportunity, a great example, the very first Rider Rally at Big Sky, the event had already started, and the first night, we were all at Scissor Bill's bar, a second story bar there at the mountain, and I was next to the bar with a gentleman who actually owned the cat skiing operation over on what is now the Madison base, but at that point in time it was backcountry, the backside of Big Sky. And we got to talking. It was towards the end of the season. He wasn't really seeing much business, so he offered up that if we could collect $100 per person, he'd take everybody cat skiing for a day. So we got the group together the next morning, and the participants were all into it. Everybody chipped in an extra 100, and for the next 4 days, we put, I think, 10 people a trip together, and 40 people went cat skiing over the course of the week, and it just happened, and that's part of the rider rally. If an opportunity or an idea presents itself, whether it's from a clinician or a participant, we're going to go with it. If it's going to be fun and people will love it, then why stick to a schedule? Why not just explore? And I think that's the A basin was the grilling and I think that's how that one came about.
So how do you keep that vibe and produce a really top-notch event that can pay the instructors, pay the people working it, yet not cost an arm and a leg for the participants, and really make it a worthwhile event where it's fun and it keeps that spirit. Yet it's like you were saying, it's insured. It has everything else that needs to go with an event these days. As an event promoter, it's um, there are a lot of hoops that you need to jump through to make something meet standards and let people know they're getting a great product when they sign up for it. But at the same time, that rogue mentality is so cool. And how do you blend the two? I hope this is making sense.
It is, and that's a great question, George. And you actually, I never even thought about insurance back in those days. So you mentioned the I word. It's probably good that we didn't think of it at the time. But that's always the question. And I'm so impressed with the current AASI team and the ones that have come before them because they've been able to bring really top-notch education, a level of professionalism, but balance that with the fun and the camaraderie, the posse mentality. They really have strike to balance there. The cost is another problem. How do you have that level of organization, administration that is kind of required if you're going to have a national event through the organization, but still maintain a cost that doesn't drive away your average snowboard instructor that might be teaching, out in South Dakota or at a place that isn't a destination paying top dollar for their instructors. So that is the problem that we've always faced with this event. Um, Thankfully, I think we solved some of that with donors who helped to bring the cost down and really believe in the event and have put some money behind it to keep it somewhat affordable. But we will probably continue to face that as we go into the future. It's not going away. I don't think it's always going to be a question we'll have to solve.
And also want to remind members that there are scholarship funds available from divisions that people are welcome to apply for. And I'm assuming that Rider Rally would be something that maybe someone could apply for.
That's a really great point. Thanks for bringing that up. I know that there are some resorts that send instructors to National Academy or Rider Rally. Both are national events and those scholarships that are available through regions or the national body. So that those are always great resources.
Now, any chance that you will be coaching at Rider Rally 2025?
I don't think anybody wants that. And we
Oh,
have an amazing team. So I will be there for sure. I didn't want to miss it. The 25th anniversary of this amazing event. I'm so amazed that it's lasted for 25 years. And that's not thanks to me. That's thanks to the team and their commitment to having this event for the members. But I just want to go and participate and just feel that vibe again. And it's just going to be a wonderful event at Copper. I know the AASI team has some great plans, but they're still keeping it open so that we can see what happens.
Erik, it's been great visiting with you. Anything you want to add in conclusion?
George, thanks for taking the time to talk about this. I think oftentimes we forget to look back at how things started in this association. So it's been really enjoyable for me to talk about the roots of AASI, but also this particular event. So thanks for doing that. And I just encourage all snowboard instructors, whether you're new this year or you've been teaching for 30 years, the Ride Rally is just a really wonderful opportunity to hang out with other amazing instructors, get some great education from this AASI team, and to build that camaraderie that we all share, that love of teaching snowboarding and supporting each other.
Erik Sheckleton, always great to chat with you. I really enjoy and thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us tonight.
Great to see you, George. Good luck tonight with your class.
Thank you very much. From the PSIA-AASI Satellite Studios in Hood River, Oregon, I'm George Thomas.